Hello, folks, and welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Dave. The other guy is Scott, and we are here to review High Anxiety, 1977 Mel Brooks freaking classic.
Yeah.
I personally think it's a genius movie. It's probably one of my favorite Mel Brooks movies, to be honest with you. Next to Young Frankenstein and
Oh,
Blazing Saddles. But this falls. It's so close for me on this movie with those two. It's hard. I can't put them in order. Which one I like most? It's a parody of a lot of Alfred Hitchcock movies, and that's the taking off point. That's
there are
for
some
me. That's the great one.
genius parodies
Yeah.
of a lot of things in here that just really made me chuckle.
Mhm.
Mel Brooks, I do enjoy his movies. So
Yeah.
folks, don't take my review as negative. It's not. Mel Brooks is a funny guy. I personally sometimes find I can only take Mel Brooks films in short pieces before they're
Right.
just
No,
like,
I get it.
okay. This one is good, but I just kind of put it down there with like Dracula Dead and Loving It, which there's good bits.
Which I love that movie. I forgot about that movie. We should
That's
do
got
that
some good
one.
bits. See, there's things about Mel Brooks. Look, there's some funny jokes. They all hit,
Yeah.
but for me, sometimes the humor just like, okay, move along. There's some
Yeah.
brilliant bits in here, though. So, yes, it's a take on Alfred Hitchcock movies. And if you're not super versed on Hitchcock, you're going to miss some things. So I
Yeah.
take that into account on me missing a few of the jokes. I
Right.
love the birds bit where the pigeons show up and they are just shitting all over Mel Brooks as he's running and the shit is just falling. It is absolutely hilarious. Yeah.
That's got to be one of the funniest scenes. When I saw that as a kid, I cried. I was crying, laughing so hard.
But my
Uh,
favorite scene, though, comes near the beginning with Harvey Korman and Mel Brooks, and they're interviewing the patient that thinks people are vampires or thinks that guy's a vampire. And
yeah.
Harvey Korman is sneaking some vampire teeth into his mouth and making faces at the guy. So Dr. Thorndike thinks, is this really happening?
Yeah.
It is funny as hell. So, yeah, there's some good shit in here.
You got
What a
you got
cast.
Harvey Korman. You've got Mel Brooks. You've got Madeline
Oh,
Kahn.
my God. It was
Cloris
wonderful.
Leachman
Oh,
as Nurse
Diesel.
Charlotte.
Nurse Diesel.
She's got
With
those
the
torpedo tit bras, or maybe they're supposed to be her tits. I'm not sure, but they're literally these pointy, like
that's the joke.
that's the
Yeah.
joke. And but the funny thing is, if you noticed, Cloris Leachman's character had like
A
a mustache.
mustache.
That was her idea
Ah,
because it's hard to make Cloris Leachman look ugly. It really
they
is.
did a great
They put a
job.
lot of makeup on her. Cloris Leachman was a Miss Texas and wound up going to the Miss America contest at one point. She was beautiful. Like you see her in Mary Tyler Moore, and she's supposed to be kind of attractive, but Mary Tyler Moore's supposed to be prettier. But when you see Cloris Leachman just walk out on stage, you're like, holy cow, she's they tried to like make her look a more mature and more, worldly, but it was just like, yeah, you guys, no, sorry, you can't hide it. In this, she still thought something needed. I think she had a mole put on, and she put the mustache, the 5 day. And when she did that, Mel Brooks just started laughing. He's like, "Oh my God, that's yes, let's
It's
let's do that."
it did. It made her look just
And
nasty.
she was doing like a hunch over back, and the way she was talking, that's all her. That's not any direction that anybody
That's
gave her.
awesome.
Like that's probably from discussions, but even
Yeah.
even Mel Brooks was like, yeah, that's her. That's on her. Which man, what a funny actress. She was
Oh
in a
God, there
couple
was
of
some
his
great
movies, if
scenes
I'm
in
not
there with her.
mistaken. Yeah, Harvey Korman. Just Harvey Korman.
Just hard. Just that's what more needs to be said.
Ron Carey as Brophy. Ron Carey was on the old Barney Miller series.
Oh, I
As
love him
Levitt.
in this.
And he is perfect in this. He is,
Yes.
He's
He
going to
is.
carry the luggage. I think I got it. I think I got it. I
I
ain't got
think
it.
I got it.
I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. I ain't got it. Howard Morris was Professor Littleman, little old man.
Oh my
And
God.
he, that guy, wasn't nearly as old as he looks
I love when they do that.
in that movie. Like I always thought he was just this little guy that had his hair brushed up. That was a complete character. They
Oh
made him
wow.
look that way. And then you
Wow.
see him without his makeup on. He was like 30 something.
Oh geez, he
It's like,
looked old as
holy
hell in there. They did
shit,
great, man.
they did a great job on that guy.
When they do the scene with him and Mel Brooks boxing, because Mel Brooks has been hypnotized, and Harvey Korman comes in, and it took me a second, and I noticed his shirt was a referee shirt. It was a
Yes.
stylized black and white striped shirt, and it's like, oh my God, he's a ref. Beautiful. Nice. Well played.
And then he just starts bouncing around with
Yeah.
him. Break, 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 break. God, the stuff that they did in this just is funny.
It is funny.
The
It is
callbacks to
funny.
Vertigo, the movie Vertigo, Psycho,
Oh, the
in
psycho scene in the shower is
the
great.
shower.
Yeah, you saw this one coming a mile away. I knew exactly what it was
It's
going to be, but it was like that was good.
so damn funny. One of my favorite scenes. Now, Madeline Kahn, another just beautiful woman.
Oh yeah,
And it's really hard to make Madeline Kahn look ugly. So instead of trying to make Madeline Kahn like downplay her beauty, they were just like, we're gonna amp it up a couple of points, but you're gonna be a complete ditz kind of thing, is what they did with Madeline Kahn
yeah.
usually. And she's got the, I want to say Vidal Sassoon, but that's
Nah,
not
it's a
the
Yves Saint Laurent.
Yves Saint Laurent suit. That's a
Yeah,
bodysuit. She jumps out of her
so it's that
Cadillac.
symbol everywhere. Her
Yeah,
car.
and the car is just the car matches the bodysuit. And when I was a kid, I
That was a
just
funny
kept
joke.
thinking that's a visual you can't miss. If you miss that visual joke,
You
but
will
it was
miss it if you didn't grow up in the time frame that symbol that was like hell I'm gonna I'm probably off, but it's like when you see a Michael Kors or a Gucci or
yeah,
one of these
yeah,
names that are very
like
expensive
really
and
big now,
popular.
right?
Yeah, so that was at the time one of the big names. I saw that on. My mom had stuff.
Yeah.
Dad had stuff. It was that was like the thing to have.
But that when she pulls up in the car, gets out and she's in the bodysuit that matches the car, it's like, oh my God. Because women did that. They had the bag,
Yes,
they had the
they
jacket,
do
they
it to
had
this
the,
day.
and it's like, oh my God. And she just had a matching car.
Yeah, that was great.
Just so damn funny. Ron Carey being the photographer whenever the shooting happens.
Oh my God, I
I
know.
don't even know how much to give away because this movie is so damn funny. And if you are a
There's
fan of Hitchcock, but you've never seen High Anxiety,
you'll get a kick
you,
out of it.
you need to watch High Anxiety. You
Yeah.
you have to, and you'll just die laughing through the whole damn thing. Although I didn't see Psycho, I knew that scene. I knew
Mhm.
even as a
Everybody knows
kid,
that
I
scene.
knew where that scene was going,
Yeah,
and it pays off. That kid's not getting a tip.
my paper.
What
Yeah.
else? The
Yes.
killer. I'm trying to remember what movie that killer was
Yeah,
based
that
on.
I couldn't piece
And
together.
for the life of me, I can't remember. I want to say North by Northwest, which I
Well,
think
I
we
love it
reviewed.
when it's like meet me in the North by Northwest corner of the park or whatever, and it's like, really, really.
Yeah, yeah. All right, relax, both of you.
Yeah.
We're both gonna there's probably a bunny running by my house right
Oh,
now.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But yeah, that's there's some good jokes in here. It is a
Oh
by
yeah.
the numbers Mel Brooks, and that's not a dig. This you he
Oh
hits the
yeah.
beats on the parodies. It's a typical Mel Brooks joke. They're funny.
Oh
There's
my
some
God.
funny stuff in there. It's just this is one that I will watch again.
Yeah. Yeah. You got
Even
to. You
though
got to.
even though because I know I missed stuff. I know I miss
Yeah,
things, and
yeah,
that's it deserves a second watch for sure because I think there's a lot of layers to Brooks. There's a lot of smart jokes. There's a lot of wordplay. There's a lot
yeah,
of there's one of the things that got me was just the cleaners there, cable car cleaners. It's a play on words. It's a double
yeah,
entendre right there. And I
yeah,
chuckled when I saw that. It's something stupid, but it's like that made me laugh. Cable
yeah.
car cleaners, but it's cleaners. But do they clean cable cars? Or are they cleaning clothes? And so that had me wrapped around it for a moment. It's like,
Yeah,
thank you,
you have
Mel.
to. There's a lot of visuals. There's a lot of verbal, and there's a lot of just facial or movement
A lot of
puns that are
gags,
just.
man. A
There's a
lot.
lot of stuff going on in his movies. Um, Now I said which like my favorite Mel Brooks movies. One of my least favorite, oddly enough, there's two of them, and I do still find them very funny. Don't so again,
Yeah.
Spaceballs and Men in Tights. While they did have their moments,
Oh, they
by the
do.
time Men in Tights came out, he had done all those jokes already. All but one or two of those jokes were new or were old. Um, but I still enjoy Men in Tights. I still enjoy Spaceballs because
Yeah.
they are Mel Brooks and they are still kind of
They are
funny.
funny. Spaceballs is very quotable. It still is
Yeah.
to this day. And Men in Tights, which I haven't
Did you
seen in a long time.
did you find it? We ain't found
Oh,
shit.
shit.
God, that's
They were
still
combing the
funny.
desert. So,
Yeah. But in this movie, High Anxiety, I don't even know how to say it. Mel Brooks is a psychologist. Madeline Kahn is the femme fatale, she's not a fatale. She's a femme in need. She needs a man to help save her dad, who's in a psychiatric ward. And Mel Brooks happens to be going there to do some work at the same psychiatric ward her
yeah.
dad is in. And she finds out who he is, and she's trying to get his help. And that's where all the fun. That's
And they
that's
fall in
the main
love.
story. Like if you did this as a serious story, it would be it'd be a good
It
story.
would
Like
work. It would work. So that,
psychologist coming into town, the woman knows her dad's in a mental hospital against his will. You have to help me. He's trying to help her, and everybody's trying to kill him to
hmm.
get all the money. That's basically what this is.
Well,
Mel
let me
Brooks
talk
stands
on
it
your
all on
point.
its ear. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, let me just talk on your point real quick. It's on its own, taking the comedy out, it stands. It's a solid
Mhm.
story, and that's what will help any comedy or
Yeah,
any movie work. If you have a solid story, you can take it to suspense. You could take it to humor. You could go
yeah,
all over the place. This movie does, and
yeah.
because the story can handle it, it's neat. It's yeah, good point.
And you've seen the characters before. Like I said, you've seen Madeline Kahn. You know the humor that she is capable of. That woman,
She doesn't even have to try, dude. She's
oh
just
my,
one of those people that if I was in the room with her, I would probably start giggling.
I
So,
would just be like, Madeline, let's just have fun because you are just the funniest broad I've met
oh
ever.
my God.
She was so damn funny that literally Mel Brooks would just go get her. Like if he had a female lead or something going on, he
Mhm.
would just be like, "Hey, you want
Had
to
to,
go play in the
had to.
sandbox again?"
Yeah, he had his
Very sad
people.
that she's passed away.
Yeah.
But Cloris Leachman was in a couple of his movies. Madeline Kahn was in a few of his movies. Mel Brooks shows up in just about all of his own movies. The Producers was a good one
Yeah.
for him. I don't think he actually shows up, but he does do a voice bit, which they
Yeah.
took over to the Broadway play.
Oh, really?
There's an
Interesting.
actor who comes out and mimes or lip syncs the words that he says in the
Oh,
movie, and it's so funny because you're like, "That's Mel Brooks. That's funny.
oh, that's cool.
It's the same line from
That's
the
cool.
movie. That's right." But Mel Brooks, man, he when he wants to be funny, and I haven't seen History of the World Part Two
I haven't either.
on Prime. I Something just tells me that it's not that it's going to be what I would consider woke and what other people might consider not woke. But
But
I just don't know if Mel Brooks is capable of woke. But the previews that I saw made me lean that way. Made me
yeah,
lean like, oh, the whoever had the money to make him make the movie had him dot some I's and cross some T's that he doesn't normally do.
Which is odd if that's the
Yeah.
case, given what he did with Blazing Saddles. And
Yeah, exactly.
you could argue, and we should review it, but you could argue Blazing Saddles is woke because it's shining a light on the
Absolutely.
ridiculousness of racism and everything else. But people got so offended by it. But it's like, wait a minute. So it wouldn't surprise me if Mel Brooks actually did have some sort of agenda. So,
But yeah, well, absolutely, there's an agenda there. But you have to look at the time for that
yeah.
agenda. That's the difference between like the movies that we watch, like the black exploitation movies that we
Yeah.
watch. You can't make those movies now for a reason. Those
Right.
times are gone. You
Mhm.
can have you can have an Action Jackson.
Yeah.
That guy was fucking badass. I loved him. But you can't put him in a situation of the 70s or late 60s and have it work today. It
Yeah.
just doesn't. It's that
No, because
the
things
time
have
period
changed.
isn't there. So
Yeah.
the jokes have to mature a little bit, but Blazing Saddles is its own beast. Blazing Saddles still works today because
Mhm.
it is like you said earlier. He worked on layers. He worked on a lot of different layers,
There's so
and
much there.
that movie is an onion that you're peeling back layers.
Oh
Even
my
30,
God.
40
Yeah.
years later, you're looking at it going, it's still funny. And I've looked at it and tried to figure out why is this still funny, and it's still funny because it is still relevant to an extent.
This
Whereas
is
at one
where,
point it was going one way, now it's pointing out the ridiculousness of today. Back
yeah,
then it was pointing out the ridiculousness of that time period.
and it still
But if you look
works.
at it now, you're like, oh no, this is still working because now it's pointing out how stupid it is today.
Yeah. It's even
Time's
more
not
so
really
today.
changing. Yeah, yeah, it's just so funny. It's a great
Yeah.
God without being too preachy. It's a great movie to watch. I
Yeah.
love Blazing Saddles.
Oh,
But High
absolutely.
Anxiety is another one. It's just funny. It's just a comedy. It's
Mhm.
not too deep. There's nothing deep in this movie that I could pick out.
No, you're not really going
But
to miss
it's
something, but
fun.
this is like any parody. Like I mentioned Dracula Dead and loving it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you have to know the story for the jokes to work well
Right,
or
right.
better, or they work better when you know what they're parodying, making a
Yes,
parody of.
yeah, yeah.
So that being the case, this is one of the things that even though I hadn't seen all the Hitchcock movies, I
Uh,
got the jokes with the cinematography. This I thought was
yeah.
brilliant when there's a scene with Harvey Korman and Cloris Leachman having coffee, and the camera is underneath a glass
Yeah.
tabletop looking upwards. Now they start with
Yeah.
one cup and one saucer each. By the
Yeah.
time the scene is done, they have laid down so many coffee cups, and as they lay them down, the camera's having to move underneath the table,
Yeah.
and they just
Yeah.
you saw them sit down with one or two cups, and they just keep pouring and setting. I died during that scene,
It's
man.
such a
That was so
funny movie.
funny. Or the
And
camera's going through the glass, or at the end through the wall, because it gets so close and it just crashes into it. Like,
we're getting too close. Pull back, pull back,
yeah.
back. Oh God, that's funny. The cinematography, to point out what you just said, there are a lot of shots that were Hitchcock shots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Like you look at it and you're like, oh crap. Like if I just walked
There was
into a
some.
movie, I wouldn't know right off the bat that that wasn't a Hitchcock film.
It was shot
There,
like a Hitchcock film.
for me, the one scene that really pointed at, well, there's two shots for me that really brought it home. There's a faraway shot of the sanitarium.
Mm-hmm.
That's a typical shot that he always did, like where, the haunted house
Yeah.
shot. And then there was one where Mel Brooks is in the phone booth. He's making the phone call, but he's all the way over to the side like this.
Yes.
So the window is open. You're looking at the bay. The only difference is Hitchcock would have pulled that shot longer.
Mm-hmm.
That shot would have been that guy on the phone talking, and it would have been notching up the tension. But you knew something was going to come through that window. You just didn't know
Mm-hmm.
when. That's the only difference in that shot for me. And that's those two shots. I'm like, oh my God, he really did put a lot of thought into this
Oh
movie.
yeah, absolutely,
The
absolutely.
music,
He didn't just throw it out and see what happened. He planned
yeah,
this.
the music. What an intense airport. or whatever he says. Wow, what a
I just love at the very beginning when you see the jet coming in and
yeah,
they zoom in on the windows and it's just
yeah,
person after person with some bizarre expression on their face. And it's just,
yeah,
and then you see him who has a fear of heights because he has high anxiety.
yeah. High
So,
anxiety. When he
I
sings,
love it.
oh God, when he sings the song "High Anxiety" is
Yeah.
oh, it, folks. This movie's just funny. It
Yeah.
is just, and I know we're going like all over, but that's what how Scott and I talk about a movie. We just
That's
kind
how we
of
talk about
go in
anything.
circles. Then we talk about four other movies at the same time. But
Right.
this, I highly recommend if you like Hitchcock, if you like Mel Brooks, if you like both of these guys, this is the movie for you. High
Absolutely.
Anxiety. It is a must. I was looking for a Rear Window reference, but I'm not sure if there's one in
It's
there.
one I haven't seen. So there might have been. I couldn't tell you.
I was just trying to figure out if I just missed it or what. So I'm gonna have to rewatch it and see if I can find one of the Rear Window references if one exists. You would like Rear Window. You would
Yeah.
really like it.
We will definitely watch
It
some
is
more
tense.
Hitchcock coming forward.
It is tense.
Cool. Very
So yeah,
cool.
yeah, absolutely. I like it. What do you think?
I I like the movie. To me, it sounds like I'm complaining. I didn't hate it. I like it. It's
No,
funny. It's got some good bits. I just sometimes Mel Brooks runs long for me, and that's
no,
just
I
the only
get
way
it.
I could say. Yeah,
I
it's
get it.
it's funny. I chuckled. I laughed out loud, but it's
Uh-huh.
like, let's go, let's go. So, it's just one of those things, and it just depends
No,
on the
I
mood.
understand.
Young Frankenstein, I can fire right through that movie. That one's just
I,
absolutely brilliant.
I love that
Love every
movie.
bit of it. But anyway, yes, I do say it is
Yeah.
a must watch if you are a Mel Brooks fan or if you're a Hitchcock fan. Um, you know, you might
Mhm.
chuckle, especially if you're a Hitchcock fan. So,
Oh yeah.
Old Ass Movies definitely recommends it. So, do us a favor, folks, hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and we will catch you next week with more old ass goodness. That doesn't sound right, Dave. I'll leave it at that.